Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. The big news over the weekend, of course, was the election in Ondo. That has been sorted. Arakuri, Akeredolu has been returned as the governor, as the winner of the election there. So he's sitting governor and also governor-elect, if you get what I mean. Okay, we'll return to that. But in the meantime, Sars, the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, it also hit big over the weekend in terms of news, protests such as we probably haven't seen in a coordinated way in a very long while. They had been ongoing, and then the Inspector General of Police came in on the matter, and indeed, he put out a statement banning SARS. Dissolving is the word. Dissolving SARS. So that's the picture there. A lot of people would have seen it. He was saying that, because of the ultimate in democracy that everybody's interested in. This is just one instance where people have to, they have to listen to the voice of the people. The police authorities have indeed agreed that SARS went way beyond, their line of duty. It was an embarrassment to them, and so they were now dissolving it. Okay, but perhaps as of this morning, you would have seen, a lot of people have seen that the protests appear set to continue. We're getting all sorts of messages. We don't know how truthful they are, or we haven't been able to verify them, but saying please stay at home. There are protests, location today, 12th of October, Lekki, Ketu, Magodo, Surulere, Akoka, Mushin, all of that in Lagos, southwest of the country where we're broadcasting from. Might well be other, other places too. But in any case, our guest this morning is our friend Tony Ofeyeton. Tony is Director General, International Institute of Professional Security. Good morning to you, Tony.
Good morning.
It's great to be able to sit across from one another, maintaining the appropriate social distancing and all of that, but it's great. First of all, give me your impressions. The protest was going, and there were those who were for a while unimpressed, and nothing is going to happen. After some time, they will keep quiet. Government will look the other way. Well, government didn't look the other way.
Well, I think one of the reasons why government had to quickly act, I was a victim of this whole thing on Saturday. I ran into these youths, and I was too shocked to believe that we still have youths like that in this country. Youth that even when they were face to face with armed policemen, they were still telling themselves, advance.
It's unbelievable.
I was right in.
You're right.
It's not a matter of a hearsay.
You're right.
I saw youths coming out in their hundreds. The bravado was second to none. The last time I saw such bravado was June 12th, and during the what do you call it? The garden, the Abiola. Yes, the pump price under Jonathan.
Mm-hmm.
I think even that one was even a combination of everybody. This you just see the exclusively youths only.
And something is going on with this particular protest. You see that they are saying that, look, this is a leaderless, so to speak, protest. Let nobody come and try and hijack this. Nobody should come in and say don't join with us. Stay your own. It is almost like an unnamed protest.
In short, if you see, and I am happy that the police has been able to proactively take the first step. Mm-hmm. The first step towards conflict resolution.
Yeah.
In terms of crisis management.
Okay.
Yes, there are pockets of crisis now, but for what the police has done now, I expect that it would only succeed in helping to bring it down. The momentum will actually go down. But what they are saying is basically a product of precedent, understanding very well that over the years, the police and government has not been faithful in their words. Mm-hmm. If you look at the politics on electricity tariff now, you discover that it's more or less like impeding on the integrity of the government. So when the IGP said we are scrapping, they are waiting for the president. And if you observe, their major statement is, we're not interested in the IGP. We want the president to tell us that scrap has been. And that's why you see they are still at Ikoyi in Unilag. This morning, macaroni is at the gate of Unilag. You see the social media is inundated. And for the first time, you see youth coming out. So if you ask me, I will tell you that, look, revolution starts gradually like that. And if you don't tame it and act very quickly, the next phase would be such that adults will begin to join.
Okay.
And when you talk about a crisis like this, when you say leaderless, that is one of the signs and symptoms of the commencement of a revolution.
I get you.
And that is why the government needs to come out. In a situation where there is no clear leader, it means that it will be very difficult for you to tame. If you don't, now it has to be policy statements now. It has to be some level of people trusting.
People seem to be aggrieved by not having heard from the president yet. And I wonder if it is the logic that, okay, if we haven't made enough of an impression to invite comment from Mr. President, perhaps we better keep at it. Because I was wondering, in spite of the concession that the police has made to their worries, and not so much worry, their offense, you know, police have said that we are, you know, I think the hashtag was end Sars. So they've ended it. But still, it would appear, until we get better information, that the protest is continuing. I now saw another version, end police brutality.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So
the whole thing is this. It is only Mr. President as it is now that can quickly, it doesn't take more than a paragraph statement or a tweet.
Yeah, the president just has to say something, right? Just, in the minds of many.
You see, the truth is, I don't know those that are advising Mr. President, but these boys are not, they don't think the way you and I think. When we were at their age, we were even more daring.
You know, another thing I noticed is that you can't really say that those who were protesting, a large percentage of them were ruffians.
No.
No, you can't say that.
They are not.
And that's the different thing.
They are not.
These are not our so-called area boys exclusively.
No, not at all. Not at all. You see some of them, many of them are graduates.
Yeah.
Many of them are graduates. And you see...
And then the protest has exceeded our borders. Tony, the protest has exceeded our borders.
Even the UK
so even in the UK,
acknowledged and appreciated the police for scrapping Sars and all those stuff like that. Now, this simply means that the government has a responsibility to quickly act. As in quickly act now.
But haven't they quickly acted by the police inspector general coming on and speaking, virtually speaking for government?
No, there are many.
I have the appointment with
if you listen to the statement of the advisor to the president on media, this lady Chikwe or whatever is her name, it was one of the major provocative statements. Because according to her, she saw NSAS movement as being engineered by criminals, by Yahoo boys themselves. And the people are like, look, it means that you are not even in terms with what is happening in the society.
Yeah.
Because if you are talking about ending SARS, and you are talking about even people, dignitaries, big-time Nigerians having suffered their own little slot from the brutality of SARS, you know,
and just about everybody has one experience or another to narrate. One experience or another to narrate. But for the moment, we know our president. Our president, he's never quick to speak.
No, there are some times that you have to break some of your maybe principle. You see, so far so well. It's good that the IGP has done the first thing.
Yes.
All the president needed to do is not compulsory that he should be the person talking. But there are media aides and the like. His aides can say the president have approved that SARS be disbanded with immediate effect.
But do you think that's all there is to it? Because I think the Inspector General, this is my personal opinion, I may be wrong, the Inspector General's announcement, he has the authority and he has done so.
He is the person that even have the absolute authority in actual fact. But you see, why this is going towards the president table is because over time, don't forget that this is not the first time he will be disbanding SARS.
Well, yes, that point was also...
It's not the first time we'll be disbanding SARS.
That point has been noted.
Within the first...
Severally.
Severally. Within the last 4 years, SARS has been disbanded 4 or 5 times. So it's not a matter of him coming out. It's not the first time.
What do you think the youths, the protesters out there, we're calling them youth for now, as you said, depending on how quickly people get in on it. What do you think they're wanting now? Because end SARS now, end SARS, that has been achieved. Although I also...
Technically.
Well, okay, if you want, technically. But I also see some other comments on social media, that's, take it as you will, saying that, look, guys, we did this. We got them to notice us. Our suffering, the victimization, the bad treatment of citizens, government has reacted. Now, this is step 1. So I guess from what you are saying, government has to just be on its game and prevent it from just going where no one else thought of. Because people are saying that, look, we got this. We can only push on. And then if they bring other grievances and begin to say, let's protest that as well.
No, it's not thus. There's already the hashtag end estimated billings as we speak now.
Let me quickly take a caller. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank
Can
you
you
for
hear
calling
me?
in.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good morning, Tony.
Good morning.
Uncle Yori, I've been shouting on this program for a long time that the president should reform the police. What we are seeing now is the result of inaction. When an action needs to be taken and it is not taken, the people, the IG may have abolished the SARS, but the people know that abolition is not going to be effective. That's why the protest is still going on.
So what do you think? What do you think, Mr. George? Let me hear your voice. Mr. George, sorry to interrupt you. What do you think more is required? What do you think more is required? The IGP has dissolved SARS.
Yes.
What do you think more is required?
The dissolution, Uncle Yori, the dissolution of SARS is not the end of police misbehavior.
Okay.
If you have dissolved SARS, how come that the same policemen are attacking protesters? That is to tell me that merely dissolving SARS has not changed the attitude of the police to their duty.
Okay.
And the change of attitude is what reformation will do. That's what I've been shouting that the government should do to reform the police.
Okay.
And that the person to reform the police cannot come from within the police. This is simply the truth of the matter. The government should do something about changing the attitude of the police towards civilians, towards the people that they are supposed to protect. As long as that disease is still there, people will not have confidence that a solution has come. That's why the protest is still going on. I hope the government understands it and does the right thing.
Okay. Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. George. Perhaps that's also part of the reason why Mr. President possibly, I don't know, Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, somebody right up there needs to come in on this and so to speak,
now,
own it.
Own it. Have you wondered that we have a Minister of Police Affairs?
Yeah.
Who is he? How many Nigerians know him? I don't even know his name. But I know there's a Minister for Police Affairs. How does that work? When you have higher level of police brutality in this country, so there is a ministry.
Yes.
A ministry.
Well, as George said, it's been long that people, yourself included, other commentators, have been calling for reform in the police force. But talking about the attitude of the police changing, I think I was reading Governor Sanwo-Olu of Lagos saying that in Lagos, the story is different. That, look, the police force in he was thanking Hakeem Odumosu, Commissioner of Police in Lagos. I believe that I got that correctly. That, for leading the police in Lagos. They are as civil as you want, according to the governor.
No,
they don't harass people, according to the governor.
Maybe he's talking SARS in juxtaposition to RRS. I will agree with that. 100%.
Okay.
RRS had this exposure to the same arms. They have, but if you look at them, you don't see them parading up and down.
Yeah, extorting, they're taking people to their banks.
Taking people to the bank and all those.
And,
so you give it to RRS. As in, 100% I give it to RRS.
So why can't
That's just the truth.
So is the
It's a
inspector
product of
general
leadership.
is the inspector general of police in charge of his own force then?
No, that is the issue. But it doesn't start with the present IG. But it's a product of whether he will be truthfully ready to reform it. Now, it's a product of leadership, and it's also a product of whether there will be punitive deterrent measure. SARS now, there are people that were killed before the issue of SARS came on board.
So
the last young
yes.
man that was killed.
Yes.
What is happening to the policemen that killed that boy?
Look.
Are they bringing that policeman for justice? Is he still in service? There are many of such cases that are still in service. The best the police will do is take them to the orderly room, derank them, or redeploy them to another station, and that will just be the end.
One more,
but if
please.
the police can,
yes,
bring a punitive deterrent measure.
We just have exactly. Good morning, IK.
Good morning, my dear.
John
Kuyori.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Go right ahead, please, quickly.
You see, to be candid, my dear, I'm morning, sir. Are you hearing me?
Yes, yes.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. We can hear you loud and clear. Carry on, please.
I'm a first-time caller, and if I didn't listen to this morning, as if, are you hearing me?
We can hear you.
Okay. If I didn't listen to this morning, as if there's something that comes from my body. To be candid, I don't believe there's any place where this NSAS ends. You see, if you go to Southeast, Uncle Yori, honestly, what SARS are doing in the Southwest, honestly speaking, is very small. Yeah. Starting from this Makurdi to down east, honestly speaking, every day they are extorting money from people. They can delay you more than 40 hours before they will be able to release you. I don't know whether the government are looking after this issue.
I
believe if they're hearing about this issue, they should know what they should do.
You are aware that the police have now dissolved SARS. SARS has been dissolved now.
I'm hearing you, sir.
Police has dissolved SARS. Yeah. How do you feel about their dissolving SARS?
Dissolving, I heard you. But if they dissolve SARS, yes, I heard of that. Yes, it's a very good omen. It's a very good omen.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, IK. I think there was too much of a gap, and it's not your fault. It's the network thing. Yeah. The question now is, SARS now, people ended, the Inspector General of Police has ended SARS. The protests are continuing for among other reasons, the ones you've also said that, look, they want to know if it's for real this time. Can they really? This has been, we've ended some odious, for teams before. They keep on coming back. In fact, I saw on social media, for whatever, to whatever good that does in terms of trying to gauge opinion, they say that you end SARS, as the police inspector general did say, we're going to redeploy those guys. So they're still in the system.
Of course, they are still in
the system. They're still in the system.
With the same mindset, with the same orientation.
And they've not been brought to book.
With the same exposure to arms, with the same exposure to money.
Yeah.
And wherever, you see, one thing we must understand is that, like George said, there is the necessity for urgent and quick holistic reform. Yeah. And when we talk about reform also would involve mass sacking. And I repeat it, mass sacking.
And public trial.
Yes. Mass sacking, public trial. Those that came into the force, either through questionable or had more than enough accusations, petitions against them, they should let them go. Pay them handsomely and let them go. There are many graduates many graduates in this country, more than enough, that the police can bring in, train properly. There are those that can no longer be reformed.
Well, if there is the will to do all that you're saying, that would be magnificent. But Ayo has since come on. Good morning, Ayo.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Thank you for calling in.
I'm so glad to get through to you today. My name is Ayo Deji, and I'm a young man, and even though I'm not on the street today, I perfectly endorse what is going on the street right now. This is the reason. You know, sir, you have been in this country. You are our father. When last did you hear this government say the truth? When last did you hear them say what they mean to do? Do you sincerely believe the charade of the IGP yesterday? This is not the first time. We absolutely do not believe it. That's number one. Number two, we did not vote the IGP. We voted somebody. Why doesn't this man talk? I'm sorry, is it a virtue to be mute? Why doesn't this man talk? When you lead people, communication is part of leadership. If you cannot talk, you leave the place. What's the problem?
So what you are saying, Ayo, is that
your leaders,
you want to hear from our leaders.
We want to hear from somebody.
Okay.
Let this man talk.
Okay.
Let this man talk.
Okay, Ayo. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. A heartfelt plea there. We need to hear from our leaders seems to be the voice out there.
Yes,
if the social media is anything to go by.
Look.
We are not hearing from our leaders. They are looking the other way. In fact, they're almost making it sound as if they're almost making it sound like they dumped this on the Inspector General of Police. You know, so he's the guy carrying the can, but we need to hear from our leaders.
And I beg those that are advising Mr. President to be magnanimous. There's a lot of honor in humility.
Did you see the traffic jam yesterday? Somebody got on what must have been a helicopter shot going into Lekki from the mainland. It was a humongous shot.
My main fear is that this whole thing now is still good now. Government can see the DSS, they have higher intelligence.
If they can move in and manage this situation.
They can do a lot of things now, and it is the president that can resolve it. Because when the hashtag and prepaid and what do you call it, estimated billing comes on board, it becomes another issue entirely. There are so many issues, and at that point in time, politicians will hijack. You and I know the implication when politicians hijack.
I'll be very surprised if the intelligence services were not on this already. I'll be very,
of
surprised.
Course, they are on it.
Okay.
But it has to be, Mr. President, please intervene.
Mr. Joshua, good morning, sir.
Yeah, Uncle Yori.
Good morning.
Hello,
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, Uncle Yori, good morning, and I greet your great guest. Uncle Yori, I think it's time the president should just take a decisive action on this matter. Somehow, not just on your program, everywhere we've been talking about this. Police force. There was a time they were talking about reformation, even through name, force. These are police service. Police service is reformation forever. What is so difficult about the reformation that touches on the attitude, on the mindset, on the way you perceive your job, on the way you relate to people? Police force. These people are military. They are militant. They don't relate. They don't understand the relationship. They don't understand the spirit of service. They don't see themselves as servants.
But
they see themselves as Lord, as God.
But Mr. Joshua, I wanted
they are gone. They behave like they are gone.
Mr. Joshua, I wanted to stay on a certain theme. They said end SARS now, hashtag end SARS now. The government, through the IGP, has complied. And the protests are continuing. Because now they are saying hashtag end police brutality and are saying what you already know, that this is not the first time they've ended the SARS or any odious
Yes, you said it well. The problem here is trust deficit. There's no longer trust. There's no longer trust in the matter. Somebody wants something that will build a trust. back. They've lost the trust of the people. They've disconnected from the people. This is a problem that is beyond making statements of, I have scrapped this, I have scrapped that. There is trust deficit. And the president, which is the highest national authority, should address the nation on this matter when riots are on the street and protests are joining it. He should talk about it. There's need for reformation, and
Indeed.
the reformation should be holistic.
Indeed.
That's the point, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joshua. Thank you. We've run out of time. Thank you very much for calling in. I made the point about protesters rejecting external influences to their, so to speak, leaderless protest, again, as they wanted to put it. People with certain names wanted to come in on it and say, no, 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 you're not part of us. Go away. This is us. It's not you. In other words, this could be hijacked. The point has been made. You've made it. I think it's been made from home that if we're not careful, politicians could actually hijack this, although it remains to be seen, since the street seems to be adept at pushing away people that are not part of its origin and its source.
Well, of course, but so far so well. I think the youth themselves, and I want to give it to DSS on that. The fact that they've been able to strategically manage the crisis, that it's not been hijacked politically. I give it to DSS because that is exclusively DSS role. How they've been able to do it, I don't know.
Exactly.
But I think they've been able to do a good job there.
The police has a PR offensive. The other day, I think the first PRO guy, Frank Kumba, no less, was speaking with a youth, a notable youth. All sorts of things are going on.
I think one of the things that the police really need to learn is crisis management.
We've got to leave it there.
Yes.
Because that's a beautiful place to put it. Crisis management.
Yes,
you think the police still has a lot to learn about that particular discipline?
A lot.
Tony, we could go on like this forever, as you know. But I want to thank you very much, Mr.
It's
Tony.
my pleasure. Thank you.
Lawyer and DG International Institute of Professional Security.
Thank you.
Thanks again. Okay, so stay with us, please. We'll be right back.